So how do we make our wishes come true? Yeah, meaning, actually, to be more specific, how can we achieve that which is likable, desirable, and agreeable in our life? Yeah, that is, how do we get the things that make us happy, satisfied? Yeah, the way that we live our lives. So there are things that people wish for. There are many things. Yeah, we can wish for material things. We can also wish for non-material things, yeah, like, for example, a state of mind, yeah, to be able to be free of debts, yeah, to be able to be free of danger, not to be near people that we don't like. Yeah, those can also count, yeah, as our wishes. So today, I would like to offer to you some ideas according to the teachings of the Buddha, how we can achieve getting our wishes the way, yeah, that we want, in a very meaningful and also very respectable way. There are many ways, of course, that human beings can get their wishes to come true. But we are going to look at the wholesome, the stable, the meaningful way, yeah, to ourselves, yeah, as Buddhists. So let's take a look at where we are. We are on this world that is constantly, yeah, turning. And in this world, we are striving, we are doing our best. Since we have come to this life, we strive, we put in energy to achieve the things that we feel, yeah, are good in our lives. So there are many things, as I mentioned, there are many things that a person, yeah, would want. But we know that in this world, there are striking differences. And I'd like to show you a picture which I also saw as I was flying into this country of South Africa, into the city of Johannesburg. This is not the exact picture. This is of another city. But what I saw was very, very clear, yeah, in that as the aircraft passed over the city center, it was very clear, yeah, who were the ones that lived in luxury. Yeah, who were the people, the houses, yeah, that were very comfortable, that were well built, yeah, and they were actually surrounded by greenery, yeah, and very nice surroundings. And then on the other side, not far away, in fact, if you just cross over to the road, yeah, you can see the slums. And this is where the poor people lived. Those people who are deprived, who are discriminated against, and they would live in those kind of surroundings, that kind of environment. So the two of them are not far apart. They are, in fact, side by side. And you would think that those people who are living in the deprived areas, the houses on the right-hand side, their wish is to cross over and to mix with those people on the other side, where people are very comfortable, yeah, and they don't think about where is the next meal coming from. Yeah, for example, like in Malaysia, we are very, very lucky. We don't think, yeah, the main consideration in our mind is, what shall I eat for lunch today? Or, yeah, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? In many, many countries around the world, their question is, am I going to eat today? So we can consider ourselves very, very fortunate in that we are able to ask, yeah, the good questions. And we have a choice. What am I going to eat today? Yeah, and we can make the choice as to whether I want spicy, whether I want savory, whether I want Western, all these things open to us. But for those people who are not as well off as us, Yeah, they have very, very important concerns. That is to actually get food on their table. So those people who are not well off, they constantly want to be more comfortable. Yeah, and they try all sorts of ways and means to join the other side, the more comfortable side, so that they can be just as comfortable. And we know that since time immemorial, the human race, where human beings understood that in order to get what they want, yeah, they would have to coexist with powerful beings. So, yeah, when they saw that there were things such as floods and earthquakes, and there were also volcanic eruptions, they thought that these mighty forces must be under the control of somebody. And they wanted to get on the good side of those powers, those beings who control the earthquake, who control the rainfall, etc., etc. And so they began to give offerings. Yeah, they began to say prayers, to be on the good side of such powerful beings. Because in their understanding, they didn't have science in those days. In their understanding, those beings must be brought over to my side. Yeah, those beings must favor me, and therefore my life will be a lot more safe and not so much in danger. So it has gone on for a very long time that human beings, in order to live a more secure, a more comfortable, a safe life, yeah, have come up with different ways of appeasing, yeah, of actually getting into the good graces of the unseen and the powerful. So there are prayers being done, there are offerings being done, there are in fact also sacrifices being done. And in our culture, we see that there's a lot of offering through burning, yeah, through all sorts of different ways. And we also take, we can see in some sections, yeah, of different religions, we also take to carrying, yeah, and also setting up talismans. Talismans, yeah, are those objects that are said to have the power of those beings that we want to be friends with, that we want to have them shower us, yeah, with their good graces and good wishes. So we see this all over the place, in every country, in every culture. Yeah, it's not just the culture of the less developed countries. Even in the developed countries, they have these kinds of beliefs that they must pray, they must make offerings, they must try to interact with those powerful unseen beings in order to have a very, very good, comfortable, and meaningful life. So we everywhere we go, we see it. And so here in Asia, in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, in this part of the world, yeah, we see that happening a lot. And even among Buddhist communities, there are such practices as offering to those unseen beings. I happen to live in Petaling Jaya, and every now and then I see that the Thai community, and it's not just the Thai, yeah, it is also Malaysian. Many Malaysians join them, yeah, in celebrating or practicing this Loi Kratong offerings, where they make these floating offerings and they will put it into the lake, yeah, in Petaling Jaya. And these things will float, and they say that if it floats away, it is a good sign. If it goes and then comes back, that year is not it's not going to be very good. So these are the things that human beings believe in, because it has been passed on, culture to culture, generation to generation. It's being that belief, that they must be subservient to the powerful unseen forces here in this world, here in this universe. So this is where we take our cue. This is where the Buddha comes in, and the Buddha explains to us how we can make our wishes come true, how we can work towards achieving a comfortable, a safe, and a meaningful life, but not in the ways that have been practiced before. When the Buddha was alive in India, many of those people that were also in society, they took to sacrifices. They also took to burning all kinds of objects, all kinds of things, in order to speak to the powerful forces. But the Buddha said, this is not the respectable way. We cannot say that there are no such unseen powerful forces in this universe. There are actually. But the Buddha said, why don't we embark on the respectable and wholesome way, rather than what he had seen in those days? They sacrifice animals, they sacrifice living things, in order to get some favor from those powerful forces. So he was very upset when he saw that sheep, and chickens and all these were being slaughtered as offerings, because he felt compassionate, towards those beings. And he wanted to tell people the way to actually move forward, the way to actually get what they want, without hurting, without punishing all those other living beings. In fact, there are some countries, you might not know when they practice it, but they will also take to punishing themselves. They will take a kind of a whip, and they will whip themselves with the wish that all their unwholesome qualities, we will give it this term, sins, that all their sins can be taken away through the pain that they are experiencing. Very much also like how many people celebrate Thaipusm, in this country. They will poke themselves and do all kinds of, it looks like it's very painful, but they tell me it's not painful at all. But in those other countries where they whip themselves, it is meant to inflict pain on their bodies, so that they feel that all the unclean things can be lifted from them, and they can again be in the good graces. They will again look good in the eyes of these powerful unseen beings. So that was what was practiced. But the Buddha's advice was, let's look at another way, a way that is more, shall we say, more cultured. So in the Itta Sutta, the Buddha gave this advice to the householder. He was the multi-billionaire, one of the richest people alive, in fact, at that time. The great rich man, Anathapindika. Anathapindika means feeder of the helpless. The person who feeds those who cannot feed themselves. So the householder, Anathapindika, went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. And the Buddha said to him, so this is the advice the Buddha gave to this great billionaire about how to achieve what a person wants. The Buddha said, householder, there are these 5 things that are likable, people like it, people desire it, desirable, and agreeable which means they really want this kind of comfort in their lives. They want it, but hard to get. What are these 5? So the Buddha explained: long life, people want it. Beauty, many people want it. Happiness, everybody wants it. Fame, there are those that concentrate on this very, very strongly. And at the end of our lives, we want to go to heaven. We don't want to go to those painful, suffering places. So we want to be assured. What kind of insurance can we buy? What policy can we take up that can assure us that we can get these 5 things? So the Buddha said, these are the 5 things, as mentioned, that are likable, desirable, and agreeable, but they are hard to get in this world. And I say, the Buddha categorically stated, I say that these 5 things are not got by praying or wishing for them. If they were, who would lack them? That is to say, the Buddha acknowledged that at that time, there were all these things that people did, praying and sacrificing. Everyone almost in society would do this. This is what they practiced at that time. So the Buddha said, if you do prayers and you want to get these things and everybody prays, that means that everybody should get what they are hoping for. But that is not the case. So the Buddha understood the mechanics, the process, the system by which people could get these things. And I would say that everyone, every human being will definitely wish for long life, beauty, happiness, fame, and heaven. So the Buddha talked about these qualities in a few suttas. And we are going to look at 2 more suttas, not just the Itta Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, but the Buddha also talked in groups of 4, sometimes, 4 qualities, not just 5. And he would explain also in the same way, which goes to show that the Buddha did not just address the progress and development of the monks, of those who had renounced the world. The Buddha also wanted and gave a lot of advice to the lay people who were hoping for all these things, to have beauty, etc., etc. And some he would add another item, which is wealth. So when he spoke to Anathapindika, he did not include the item of wealth. Why? Because Anathapindika had no need for more wealth. He was already very rich. But he knew that Anathapindika was looking for other things, such as long life, beauty, happiness, fame, and heaven. So Anathapindika and his circle of friends would be desiring such things, which they found very agreeable and likable. So let us now examine what the Buddha talked about. And in the treasure chest, we look for long life, we look for beauty, we look for happiness, we look for fame, and in the end, at the end of our life, we look for heaven. Everybody wants it. It is in our treasure chest. We want these things so that we can keep it and use it for our happiness, our pleasure, and our comfort as well. So I've taken to depicting it as icons or symbols, so that when you look at it, we can relate to the things in a visual way. So let's go further. These are the 5 things. And what is the force that determines it? It is karma. In Pali, it's karma. In Sanskrit, it's karma. That is the the characteristic of the pronunciation. Long life, ayu, beauty, vanna. In the Malay language, we also have borrowed this word, except we turned it into varna, for color. But there is a connection between beauty and color. Happiness, sukha, fame, yasa, and at the end, heaven, sagga. So the things that we want are brought to us through the things we do as karma. Karma is the broad term for action and result. And what it really offers to us is that no matter what our condition, no matter where we are now, there is the potential to go higher, to do better, to acquire more and more things that we want in order to be happy in life. So there were people, in fact, during the Buddhist time, who did not believe in karma. They say the world is what it is. You see it, you do the things that you want to do. There's no such thing as karma. So do it, do the things that you like, because there will be nothing chasing after you, like in the teachings of karma. So the Buddha acknowledged that there were people who believe this thing. There is no karma. But the Buddha said, karma, when you understand it, when you actually have some idea about how it works, provides you with the channel, with the way to actually get out of your troubles, to get out of the suffering state, because it allows us to achieve our potential by working for it. So karma means there must be an action. First of all, there is an intention, there is volition, then there is action, and then there is vipaka, there is the result. So karma actually means action, and vipaka means result. It is this vipaka, the result, that we are hoping for, to be wholesome and comfortable, satisfying to us. So this is a main teaching of the Buddha. And although the people at that time also believed in karma, the Buddha explained it in a different way. The term is similar, but the idea is very, very different. This is just to qualify it through some people saying that Buddhism actually is a reformed version of Hinduism. That is not correct, because Hinduism did not exist during the time of the Buddha. There were a set of Brahmanical practices where the people aimed to connect with Brahma. So Hinduism is the modern religion that we get to see today. So if we understand the Buddha's way of explaining karma, we will see that some of it is similar to what people believed in those days, but a lot of it is very, very different, because it allows us, through the workings of karma as well, to aim for liberation, to aim for escape from the suffering, which in a way karma binds us to. But in our ordinary life, we look for these things. We look for long life, the good things, the long life, the beauty, the happiness, fame, heaven. And I would like to also add to the mix wealth. We are not anathapindika. We are not a multi-billionaire. So therefore, many people in this world want to be materially well off. They want to be comfortable. They want to enjoy many things through the senses. So the Buddha said, if you want these things, you have to work for it. It's no use praying and sacrificing and burning and giving all kinds of things. Because although some devas can help you, they can't help you for everything. And the Buddha said, if you know what you want, you can work towards it through your own karma. Meaning to say, where we want to go, what we want to achieve is in our hands. It is up to us to direct ourselves to what we want in our lives. So it's very important for us to understand this. So karma is an important foundation for the studying and the practicing of the Buddha's teachings, because we can aim ourselves to where we want to go and what we want to achieve. Yeah, I repeat that. There is another sutta which further explains why some people are attractive, why some people have long life, and why some people do not enjoy these things. So in the Chudla Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, there's another sutta called the Maha Kamma Vibhanga. Maha means large, big. Chudla means smaller or shorter. The Chudla Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, the Buddha explains to a young man who is a student, who came to see him, and asked the Buddha, what is the cause, Master Gautama? What is the reason why, even among those who are human beings, some are seen to be inferior and some are seen to be superior? Why? Did he ask? He said, for people are seen who are short-lived and those who are long-lived. There are those who are sickly and those who are healthy. Those who are ugly and those who are beautiful. Those who are insignificant and nobody notices them. And those who are illustrious, well-known, famous. There are those who are poor and those who are rich. Those from low families and those from eminent families. And there are some who are witless. That means not very clever, not very smart. And those who are wise. Why? He asked the Buddha. Why is the world like this? What is the reason why even among those who are human beings, some are seen to be higher and some are seen to be lower? And the Buddha explained. And I will go into some depth regarding this sutta. Student, the Buddha explained, sentient beings are their owners of their deeds and heir to their deeds. So that already is describing karma. Deeds are their womb. We are developed in karma. Deeds are our relative. That means surrounded by karma. And the refuge. We can take refuge in our good karma. In fact, right now, dear brothers and sisters, we are taking refuge in our karma. There are some of us who are not strong, who are not healthy, cannot join us. And there are some of us who are working very hard every Sunday, not just Sunday, also on weekdays, to ensure that the Dhamma is shared within the community. They are energetic, they are strong, they are dedicated. Why is it that some are interested to listen to the Dhamma and there are some not interested to listen to the Dhamma? So this is due to karma. Karma is our refuge. So if we have good karma, it will bring us to that which is good. Let me tell you a story. I might have told you this before, and it was shared with me by the late Chief Reverend Venerable Kesari Dhammananda. He said, a young Chinese man, one day came through the gates of the Vihara. And he started to talk to the monks, and he wanted to know more about the Buddha's teachings. So the monks directed him towards late Chief Reverend. And late Chief talked to him, and then he was curious. He asked this young man, "How did you find our temple?" And this young man, he gave the explanation. He says, "Truly, Venerable Sir, I do not know how I came here." He said, "I was on the bus, on the main road, on the main Jalan brick fields, not Jalan Berhala, outside the main road. And as I sat on the bus, something made me press the bell." He could not explain what had happened. So he pressed the bell. And then it was expected that when you press the bell, you want to go down. So he said, "I went down. And I didn't know where I was. I was heading towards the city, KL. And I don't know why I got down in this place." So he wandered around, and eventually he went into the inner roads, and suddenly he saw there was a Sri Lankan Buddhist temple. They spoke English. He wanted to know more in English. So he went in, and this is how he said to late Chief, "This is how I came here. If you ask me, I really cannot explain, how I got off the bus and wandered into the temple." So when the time is right, as I'm trying to tell with this story, as the time is right, sometimes our karma brings us to where we should be. And then this young man, he was so thankful. He spoke to late Chief for a while. He took all the booklets, and he went off to read them. And I assume eventually he came back for more discussion. It is here, it's mentioned, it is deeds that divide beings into the inferior and the superior. So the Buddha further goes on to explain. Take some woman or man who kills living creatures, violent, bloody-handed, a hardened killer, merciless to living beings. Because of undertaking such deeds, when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. If they are not reborn in a place of loss, but return to the human realm, then wherever they are reborn, they live short lives. They are short-lived. For killing living creatures is the path. It is the karma that shows leads to a short lifespan. So now, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, we can understand when we don't observe our first precept, many unwholesome, uncomfortable, painful things can happen to us. So therefore, the precepts are taught by the Buddha to keep us away from those unwholesome and painful results. So the Buddha goes on in this sutta. But take some woman or man who gives up killing living creatures. This is the other side, the flip side. What if the person does not kill? They renounce the rod and the sword. They are scrupulous, honest, and kind, living full of compassion for all living beings. Because of undertaking such deeds, when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. So because they don't kill, they are compassionate, they are kind, not just to animals, they are also kind to other human beings. Because there are some people I've come across, they only love animals. They try to keep away from human beings. They seem to have an affinity for the behavior of animals rather than human beings. But a person like this, which the Buddha is describing, is kind to everybody. They are not reborn, if they are not reborn in a heavenly realm, but return to the human realm, then wherever they are reborn, they are long-lived. For not killing living creatures is the path leading to a long lifespan. So I have known of people, yeah, who have lived. In fact, I'm quite lucky. Yeah, my grandparents and my parents all lived to 90 and above. I'm not sure whether I will live that long. I think my lifestyle when I was young doesn't. It was a stressful life. Yeah, doesn't might not allow me. But whatever it is, we can see that people who are take care and observe the first precept, yeah, they live longer and more healthy lives. I have seen that. Yeah, and my grandfather, my mother's father, I will let you know. Yeah, he was not in the group of long-lived grandparents. He died relatively younger. He died at around 76. Yeah, 76. Why? Because when he was young, he was a hunter. He would go into the jungle with his gun and shoot and kill other living creatures. Yeah, so he would kill flying foxes. He would kill small animals. Yeah, I think he enjoyed it, and then he would bring it back for everybody to to clean up and eat the flesh. So I can see, yeah, that he died in an accident. So at the age of 70, yeah, he met with an accident. He didn't die straight away. He was bleeding for a number of days, and eventually he passed away. So he didn't have an easy death. Yeah, pretty much the way that what he did, yeah, to those animals. In fact, I remember that whenever it was time, maybe my family used to keep chickens. When it was time to eat chickens, he would be the one who cut the neck of the poor chicken. Yeah, and then I remember seeing that this headless chicken, actually not headless, cut already, would still run, yeah, all over the place before the loss of blood, made this chicken finally collapse. Yeah, and then my grandmother would bring this chicken back and prepare for our dinner table, yeah, for us to eat. So these are the things that I have seen for myself, not just one, many people. Yeah, if they do not observe first precept, yeah, their lives are either very short or it is not a healthy life. So the Buddha emphasized, this is the direction for us to understand. Beings are owners of karma, heir to karma, born in karma, bound by karma, have karma as their refuge. It is karma that differentiates beings into low and high state, yeah, as I have mentioned before. So in this sutta, the Buddha goes into a little detail, and I will not quote the sutta, but I will just run through the results very quickly. So when we talk about life expectancy, if a man kills, yeah, is cruel, tortures, get violent with other living beings, he is born short-lived. If a man abstains from killing or being violent, torturing, yeah, and he is compassionate, merciful to other living beings, he is usually born long-lived. Why is it usual? Because he might have or she might have other karma, yeah, that is waiting in the wings, that is waiting behind there. He might be good now, but he might not have been a good person in some past lives. And this karmic force, this energy, is following the person until the right time, when it will take effect. Then when we talk about health, if a man habitually injures and harm others, delight in the pain, yeah, and we can see that now in certain countries like Myanmar, Burma, yeah, people are inflicting pain on others. There is a karma. They also know that there is a karma, yeah, but their greed and their anger is stronger than their understanding of karma. So they will shoot and kill other living beings. The result is, the karma is, this person will be born sickly with various diseases. If a man abstain from it, he will be born healthy. So now what about beauty and ugliness? If a man is always angry, short-tempered, bad-tempered, always show, the ugly face, often irritable, even over a trivial remark, small thing, cannot even let go of small thing. Do you know of people like that? A person who is stubborn, shows temper, in the future, he will be born ugly. If a man is not angry, not irritable over strong word, you can also shout at him. He will not change his expression. Not stubborn, does not show temper. He or she will be born attractive, born beautiful, liked by people. So one of the things about karma is it has been explained that a person's karma can be changed by certain qualities. That is, if a person is born in a very low status, there are things which he or she can use to overcome that starting karma. One of which is beauty. Another of which is intelligence. Yeah. If a person is intelligent, he might have been born poor, but he can come out of that poverty. If a person, such as a lady, is beautiful, but born in a poor family, he or she might be noticed, yeah, and taken out, yeah, to do to become an actress, to become a model, or to be just married into a very rich family. So the beauty makes the person noticed, and because she is noticed, or even he is noticed, he is going to overcome the initial unwholesome or bad karma. So there are certain forces which you can initiate in order to overcome the situation, yeah, a person is born with. Then we come into power of, if a man has a jealous heart, envies others, yeah, etc., yeah, and really not a nice person, he is born usually powerless, the next life, or lack of influence. Nobody wants to listen to him. Yeah, he will say, I got this, I got that, but nobody would want to listen. But if a man has magnanimous heart, thinks about others, works for the welfare of others, is not vengeful, does not hold grudges, he will be born in the future, but he must agree to take on this status. He will be born powerful or with great influence. Then, if a man, we talk about wealth, if a man is greedy and stingy and doesn't give anything to anybody, keeps all the money for himself or herself, and does not provide requisites to the Sangha, he will be born poor. If a man is generous, he will not hold back. He's very happy to give. He will look for opportunities to give. He will be born rich. Even if he's not born rich, he will never be lacking. He will never suffer not having enough. He will always have enough. Like us, we are not, shall we say, multi-millionaires, but we have enough. That's why we always ask this question: what are we going to eat for lunch today? Right? We have a choice as to what we can eat. Then there is reputation, etc. There is a reputation, and then we go on to intelligence. Yeah, if a man does not approach the learned and virtuous one to find out more about what is good and what is evil, what is right and what is wrong, what should be practiced and what should not be practiced, what should be done and what shouldn't be done, what conduces to one's welfare and what causes one's ruin. If you don't go and find out things in life, he will be born ignorant and will lack wisdom. But if a man has got this inquisitive mind, inquiring mind, always wanting to find out what is good, what is not good, what should be done, what shouldn't be done, how can I help others, and what he will usually be born intelligent, because the mind is always inquiring, the mind is always asking questions. So brothers and sisters, if you ask more questions, you will be born intelligent in the future. So do ask questions, yeah, after a Dhamma talk. In the sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, the Patakama Sutta, the Buddha also talks about these things, but it was to another person. Yeah. And so he talks about four things. He talks about wealth. Now he brings up wealth because this person that he talked to is not so wealthy. So this is one of the concerns of this man, yeah, that he wasn't he was comfortable, but not wealthy. He also wanted fame as usual. He wanted long life and he wanted to go to heaven. Yeah, that was the common thing in those days. Want to go to heaven. And so the Buddha also explained how one can go about getting such things. So this man, yeah, was a little bit more spiritual, yeah, than some of the others, like the student, son of Todeya. The Buddha said, yeah, explain the certain ways that are conducive to this person. So he said, you must be accomplished in faith. You must be accomplished in virtue, virtuous behavior. You must be accomplished in generosity. And you must be accomplished in wisdom. So that's the way you are going to get these four wonderful things. In this life, and also after you have passed away, you will also have this type of enjoyment. So, dear brothers and sisters, when we come into the Buddha's teachings, we are taught that the basic practices are dana, start from dana, then samadhi, yeah, and dana, sila. I made a mistake. It's dana, sila, bhavana, not samadhi. Yeah, so dana, sila, bhavana means you practice generosity, you practice virtue, and then you practice the training of the mind. So the Buddha always started when the person was not really inclined towards spiritual practice. The Buddha will always explain, do dana, yeah, give, do charity. And there are three ways of doing dana. One is the amisa dana, that means dana of material things, such as food and clothes and those tangible things. Then there is amisa dana. There is dana that is you help others so that you take away the worry and the concern, the anxiety from their minds. So that is dana of removing, abhaya dana. You remove the danger, the sorts of anxiety and danger from their minds. So when you go and comfort people, when you give them counseling, advice, really try to soothe them, try to make them less worried. That is a form of dana. So if you go to hospitals and talk to the sick people and say, don't worry, you will get better, that is dana. Yeah, those people who have lost their homes due to fire and flood and all this, and tell them, please don't worry, your life will get better. That is a form of dana. So dana is not just about always giving food. And the last form of dana, which is also very important, is Dhamma dana, the gift of the Dhamma. So if you can work towards expanding and giving this gift to more and more people, it is a form of dana. And by that, these four things, yeah, wealth, fame, long life, heaven, will come to you due to your good intentions. Of course, we must not do these good things with ulterior motives. There is such a thing. Sometimes we do dana, we want to be famous for our dana. No, we shouldn't have that kind of intention. Then the Buddha says, we should work on sila, samadhi, panya, which is the practice of these three trainings of the Noble Eightfold Path. And the Noble Eightfold Path is divided into sila, samadhi, panya. So that's the way to move forward in our Buddhist life. So here is the world. And we are living in this world. But we are, in a way, when we think about it, we are caught up like a hamster. It is a never-ending loop of chasing worldly things. Even though those are nice things, comfortable things, good things, we are caught up. So we must know when we are comfortable and when we are becoming overly greedy. We should know, and not be too caught up, not be too distressed or upset when we cannot achieve 1 million in earnings for the company, or more and more and more. So what that means is know your level. Because some people, when they are not able to achieve what they want to achieve, they get really upset. And there are those, when they lose what they earn, they will kill themselves. When they know that what they have built up over the years is going to be washed away, disappeared, they become so depressed that they think, I shouldn't live anymore. So they don't have the value for the human life, because the Buddha said human life is so precious. They just kill themselves. So that is the other extreme of not being able to live with oneself when you cannot achieve what you want. So we must know this. And dear friends, I would like to end this session where I have talked about how do you achieve your wishes. And we have gone through and examined how karma is a very important development in this process. So we do things in a very respectable way. When we are honest, we also get more good things coming to us. Some people say, and I've heard it many, many times. Some people tell me, you cannot do business without cheating others. You cannot do business without being a bit devious. You cannot be 100% straight in business. And the Buddha disagrees, because the Buddha gave advice. If you keep your 5 precepts, if you are honest, people will recognize you. People will know that you give value for money. If you promise people certain things and you deliver those things, everybody will remember you. And they will come back to you again to give you more and more business. They will want to deal with you. Why? Because they trust you. Your word is respected. When you say, I shall do it, you will do it. Rather than many business people. There are many people who try to earn a living by saying one thing and doing another thing. They cannot deliver what they promised. So the Buddha said, honesty is the best policy. And this is what we should aim for. There are many, many people in this world, and some of them want to give really good value, quality, when you buy a certain thing from them. And they have become very, very rich and very, very famous. They have lived up to their word. What they have promised, they have delivered it. So you can see, honesty is actually the best policy, as explained by the Buddha. So, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, let me tell you a story to wrap up this Dhamma sharing today. There was a game called the wishing game. And this was asked of 5 young people, 5 kids. And they were asked to describe their wishes. And the person who initiated it said, the best wish, I will give you a prize. So the first child said, I wish for chocolate ice cream. I love chocolate ice cream. Give me chocolate ice cream any time of the day. So that was the wish. I wish for it. I wish I could have chocolate ice cream all the time. Then the second child said, no, I want an ice cream factory. Not only will I get chocolate ice cream, I will also get vanilla ice cream, strawberry ice cream, all kinds of ice cream. So I want a factory. I wish for a factory. And the third child, then they get cleverer as they go along, said, I want $1 billion. Because with $1 billion, I will build few ice cream factories. And not only that, I will have money to spend, and I can spend it all on my family and my friends. That is my wish. And the fourth one, even more clever, said, I have a wish for 3 wishes. So the first wish, if I get the 3 wishes, is I will wish for an ice cream factory. The second wish is I wish for $1 billion. And the third wish is I wish for 3 more wishes. So I will have a never-ending supply of wishes. That's really clever, isn't it? And when it came to the fifth child, the fifth child said, I wish for contentment. I wish that I would be so happy and satisfied. I do not have any wishes anymore. So this was the most intelligent answer that was received by the initiator. Yeah. So it's somebody, who really wanted not to ask for any more, in his life. And this is from the book Happiness Through Meditation by Ajahn Brahm. So the 5 wishes tells us that in fact, the person who has no wishes, the person who is contented and satisfied, is actually the richest person in the world. So with that, I would like to thank you for your kind attention, for listening, and I hope some of these ideas and statements that I've shared with you will make sense, and you will reflect on these things whenever you can. Thank you so very, very much. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And thank you, Brother Tan, for your timely sharing of Dhamma. Brother Tan, we are waiting for some questions for the Q&A, but in the meantime, I listened to your talk and I kind of want to be intelligent in the next life. So maybe I can ask you a bit, what inspired you to actually come up with this topic, making wishes come true? Right.
Well, to be perfectly honest, Brother Chi Huat asked me to speak about it. But I thought it was also a good opportunity to share with fellow Buddhists about the way to go forward. Because, I was not born into Buddhism. To tell you the truth, the first religion that I experienced was Christianity. And why was that? It was because my mother went to a convent school, and she was very, very close to the nuns, who actually loved her very much. And one of the things that I saw in my house, the pictures, we had a picture of Kuan Yin, and then further down, somewhere else in the house was a picture of the Virgin Mary. So these 2 pictures of this wonderful female images were in my house. And I read books on Christianity when I was young, and the nuns would come to my house and they would have tea with my mom, all sorts of things. But that wasn't my only experience. My grandmother was a highly religious person, very, very religious. And she would drag me through another experience which I had when I was young, of going through a smoky Chinese temple, full of smoke, everywhere burning joss stick, burning paper, and I don't know what else they were burning, but it was full of smoke. And my grandmother dragged me and said, here is joss stick, go and stick the joss stick there. Okay, can you throw this paper into the fire? I throw the paper. So I listened to her, because she was one of those very traditional Taoist, Chinese, and also Buddhist, because she also said we must pray to Buddha. Yeah, so all this was mixed into one big jumble of practices, including the Christian, the Catholic Christian. So I used to go to Christmas parties, etc., etc. But then we were fortunate, yeah, in that when we moved to KL, we were able, just like this young man I was telling you about, who came down from the bus, we were introduced to the Buddhist Vihara, yeah, in Brickfields. And then we met the late Chief Reverend. And from then on, our religious practices really changed. Yeah, although we did continue with some things, what we emphasized, our focus was now on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So I can remember that my grandmother, when she practiced all these things, she would also talk to the deva or the deity. Please bless us. Please keep us away from harm. Yeah, please give us a long life. Please give us happiness and all these things. Yeah, and she said the more you offer, yeah, you will get these things. So I was looking and trying to understand this whole process, right? Of you offer, you burn these things, and how can you get? So I didn't question it because we were comfortable. We were not lacking in anything. I mean, we are not rich people, but it doesn't mean that we didn't want more. But at the same time, we were contented most of the time. Yeah, we didn't think that there was something so badly missing in our family life. But when I came across Buddhism, when I was young, and I learned about it and practiced further when I became older, I saw that in the end, everything is in our hands. What we want, we don't have to submit to a higher power. Because in certain religions, you have to submit to a higher, being. Yeah, if you do not acknowledge that higher being, you will be doomed. Yeah, you will have disaster coming into your life. Yeah, I have, there are certain stories of some religions. You must acknowledge the creator. Yeah, you can love the creator. You can hate the creator, meaning you disagree with the creator, but you cannot ignore the creator. You cannot. You must always have the creator in your lives. Yeah, so this is their attitude. Yeah, although they are not happy with the creator, right? And sometimes they will scold the creator, they must not turn their face or their attention away. They must always live with the presence of the creator. So I began to see this, and I will ask myself, is it something that is right for myself, for me? Is it something that is acceptable to Buddhists? And the more I studied and the more I practiced, I began to understand that whatever it is in our hands. If you want something, we must work for it. There is no free lunch in this life. Yeah, things will happen if you take up you put your energy towards it, put your effort towards it, you will be able to achieve it. But if you wait, and just keep on hoping and asking and burning, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it will only happen when you do something. Right. So this is how I've come to understand the process.
Thank you for the answer, brother. And of course, being able to discover Dhamma is one of the greatest gifts in this life. Okay, we have actually 2 more questions from Facebook.
Right.
I think related, so I'm just going to mention both of them. The first one is, if everything is impermanent, like long life, beauty, and fame, is this because we fail to apply or realize the wisdom of Dharma in our daily ordinary life? And what is, of course, the purpose of seeking all these things out when they are in fact impermanent? And of course, the second question is, what may be the cause for people who follow your advice, or rather the Buddha's advice, but are not able to realize their wishes?
Okay, so the first question on impermanent, why are we chasing impermanent things? Yeah, we chase impermanent things because they're attractive to us. Yeah, and because we don't have the wisdom to actually see that they are impermanent. We can talk about it. Yeah, I can come on every Sunday and keep on mentioning everything is impermanent. Yeah, sabbe sankhara anicca. Everything is impermanent, but it's not going to go into the mind. It's not going to make a difference unless we see the impermanence deeply. And when we see the impermanence deeply, then we know that there are other things to strive for, to work for. Some things which are more permanent rather than the impermanent. So because of our worldly preferences, we still go on chasing after impermanent things. So every one of us, we look good. Yeah, I don't look so good nowadays, But when you are young, in your 20s, you look good. Yeah, but that is going to fade away. Yeah, I used to have a lot of hair. Now I have got really much less hair, and they are all turning white. So that is the quality of impermanence. Yeah, and we naturally, due to our inability to see that these things are constantly changing, not just changing over a day or changing over a year, these things are actually constantly changing. There is nothing which is permanent and fixed, but we can't see it. No, we can't see its real quality. So because we can't see it, we hang on to our shall we say, our original view of the world. Original view. That means these things are very, very good. So it's a process. It's a process. The more we understand and the more we practice, so the practice that is offered by the Buddha, and some Buddhists are interested and some Buddhists are not interested in taking up the practice of the meditation. So it is through meditation that we can see the actual quality, characteristic of the material things around us. So the mind goes into the object and the mind sees that these objects are fluctuating all the time. So you look at your body is fluctuating. It is just in a state of flux. Yeah, it is cells and energies and all these molecules all the time running around, and we cannot catch it in any time or any state as being this is a permanent cell, or this is a permanent molecule, this is a permanent particle. We cannot catch it. And it will dawn on us as that process happens that nothing is permanent. So what the Buddha said is in fact true. Yeah, what the Buddha explained 2,600 years ago is in fact true. At that stage, we can learn to let go. But before the real seeing happens, you won't be inclined to let go. This is still good. The way of life that we have is still enjoyable. I still enjoy my teh tarik. Yeah, I still enjoy driving my car. I still enjoy listening to music, going to movies. All of it is enjoyable. Yeah. But as we go along, we see, even as you grow older, you will see that these things have take on a different feeling, a different dimension, and we are looking for something a lot more substantial. So there is the truth. There is reality in the Buddha's teachings. There's a choice. How deeply do you want to go into it? Because if you don't go deeply, you won't see deeply. And that's fine. But if you go deeply, you will see deeply. And you will see the reality. But not everybody wants reality. We are very happy being ignorant. Yeah, ignorance is fun because you enjoy being ignorant. But there are those who want to see what is real, what is true. And they are no longer enamored or taken in by things that are not real. So that's when we can let go. But it must be a natural process. You cannot force people to see things as impermanent. We have the theory, we have the concept, but until you see it for yourself, you won't let go. The next one is, what is the question on, what was it? Sorry.
The question is actually, if we follow the advices of the Buddha, as explained by you earlier, and we still do not realize the wishes, what are the causes of that?
Right. So that shows that our wisdom factor, the wisdom that we have, is still not very well developed, and we have to develop it now, which means we have to study more and we have to practice actual seeing. Yeah, and there is the practice of right seeing, samadhi. What is the real thing that is there? Yeah, in fact, it's like the scientists. Before the scientists invented microscopes, we didn't understand about germs. Yeah, we thought sickness was just through the air. Yeah, it's in the air. But when scientists invented microscope, they began to understand microbes, germs, pathogens, and all these kind of things. So the level of understanding is up to us. Yeah, when we have the wish, you must have the wish. Do you wish to see more deeply? Do you wish to see the actual reality of our existence? Talking about reality, all these things about atoms, molecules, subatomic particles, etc. That's reality. What we see as solid things actually are not solid. They are fluctuating all the time. And so scientists who work on these things, their understanding is very different from our understanding. We see a chair as a chair, a table as a table. A piece of charcoal is a piece of charcoal, but scientists don't. Yeah, scientists see it as they have their scientific, their chemical name for it. But that's how they see it, and that is coming closer and closer to reality, because the physical sciences, the sciences that we have, explains reality. But there are some people who still don't believe. I'm not sure whether you take it as true or not. There are some people who still don't believe the world is round. Some people say, until today, the world is flat. That is their belief. Even though scientists have shown them pictures of the earth as being a sphere, people don't believe it. So it's up to you. What reality do you want? Yeah, there are some who do not really want reality. When you explain what is the real, what is the true, they are not interested. They just want to be comfortable in their beliefs. Yeah, and their beliefs is, whatever they make of it and what they have grown up with. And they do not want those things to change. Because if you show them that what they have been believing is not right, they will be very, very upset. They've been believing it for a very long time. And now you show them, oh, this is not true. They do not like it. So they can't give it up. So therefore, we have to work on the wisdom factor. That means go and study more. Think about it, reflect. The Buddha said reflection is very important. You come here on a Sunday, you eat the Dhamma, but you also have to tapao. Yeah, tapao the Dhamma for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then come back again for a new Dhamma meal, makan on Sunday, and tapao again, and reflect upon the Dhamma, yeah, on the weekdays. That is, you have some free time, you can do a bit of reading, you can watch the recording, and then you think again, what is it that this person is talking about? Is it reasonable? Is it logical, rational? Yeah. What is he really offering to me? Yeah, if you are looking at the Sunday morning talks, and then you reflect. So the Buddha said, Yoniso manasikara. He gave it this term. Yoniso manasikara means you take it and you give it more and more, deeper and deeper thinking. So you think about it on other days, and it might reveal to you more information, more understanding through your own reflection. Yeah. So the Buddha wanted us to reflect because he said, your reflection is training you to be your own good teacher. Your reflection means that you are your own good teacher. When you cannot find a teacher, you reflect by yourself on the teachings that you have heard. And then it will go in deeper and deeper and deeper. So that is important. So if you want to develop the ability to see through, you also not just study, you also, as I said, you have to practice. Practice deep seeing, yeah, practice deep knowing. Bring your mind to where you are. Live in the present moment. I know this is kind of like cliche. Everyone says, yeah, live in the present, be in the here and now. But this is what the Buddha taught us. Not to let our mind run everywhere, but to concentrate on the nature of our existence. What do you exist as? You exist as a person. What is the person made up of? The person is made up of body and mind. So we bring our attention, yeah, our inquiry, wanting to find out more about our body and our mind. So we understand this is the body, this is how the body feels. We look at the mind, how does the mind work? And then we begin to understand the real nature of this body-mind process. And this is what the Buddha wants. Yeah? And the Buddha wanted us to go deeply and understand the real nature, not imagination, not what we have developed as concepts, but he wanted us to see truly, deeply, yeah, and what is real.